Sounds good.
So hello and welcome to the 2019 GRG 24 Hours of Le Mans. So, from qualifying, we have VBR Das in first place. RPP 9 1997. Second, WGI Station. Third, ACR Polaris. Fourth. Fifth is Tipper 2. Warlock is the pole setter in the LMP2 class. Ethan B is second. Peter Puppet is third, and GT21 is fourth. And Hurricane Chris is in the back of the LMP2 field. Offner, the Frenchman, the very fast Frenchman in the Ford number 66, is first. Ferrari, who again switched from the LMP1 class to the GT class for Porsche, is second. JTS, third. Reload in the second Ford number 69 is fourth, and Real Marker in the Chevrolet Corvette is fifth, and GRG Loss in the Ferrari is sixth in the GTE class. So VBR Dast with an incredible time in qualifying. Faster than Kamui Kobayashi. 2017 qualifying record with a 3:14.658. He will be certainly a man to watch today. So we're going to go off on a formation lap here. So again, welcome to the 2019 GRG 24-hour Le Mans. I am Derek McCord. I am your lead commentator. And with me, I have a fellow friend of mine who actually won the 2019 GRG Indy 500. Welcome. And what do we have here? Do we have an issue with VRB Dast? Hold on 1 second. He is pulling off. Why is he pulling off the circuit? Our pole sitter has an issue. What is going on here? He is going. Was there contact?
Oh yeah.
Yes. Oh, there was contact. What happened here? What happened here? Do we have an issue? So do we have our pole sitter somehow contact? Yes, reload is missing his rear wing. So do we have an issue before the race even started? Unfortunately, we do not have replay, so I cannot tell you what happened, but this is a huge development here. So to lead the race is going to be RPP in the Porsche number 1. So this is interesting because this, again, VRB Dast, your pole sitter and your championship leader on 52 points. So this opens up a huge door here for WGI, who is third in points, to catch up. This is a double point scoring race. So this will really, really upset the standings. So again, I apologize. Again, sorry for the development. So my color commentator here. Again, the 2019 Indy 500 champion. BDF Gaming, how are you doing today?
Doing great. Been watching some Le Mans this morning. My Brazilian boy Bruno Senna didn't do too great, but I think the race is going pretty exciting. Hopefully it's the same here. It's 9th for the GRG race. Be fun to watch.
So, yeah. So, VBR Dast is caught up. He is leading the field now. So he was able to catch up. But does he have any damage? So again, we have an hour and a half race today. And there is a threat of rain. Now, when the rain comes, will it be in the evening? Will it be the dusk? Will it be tomorrow morning? We don't know. But from practice that we've had earlier this week, the absolute biggest problem has been the Mulsanne corner. Every single driver has had issues with the Mulsanne corner. So with this circuit, it's cool. It is a cool circuit. Drivers should be on soft tires throughout the whole race. But the problem is, with the threat of rain, who compromise on setup? Who is set for full-on dry and wants to just bang out a lead when it's dry now? Or who's set up for a wet setup? Who raised the ride height on their car? I think we'll find out today. So after watching qualifying, BDF, who are you looking for today's race?
Well, we saw the LMP1s, or LMP8s here. VBR Dast had a very good qualifying lap. I think he was 8 seconds faster than RPP. And RPP, I mean, he ran me down in Indy. I was sweating bullets. But actually, the LMP2 battle, I think, should be interesting because the guys that qualified, I think second, third, and fourth were separated by less than a tenth. So I would be very interested to see what happens there. But, you know, everybody, when you come to Le Mans, you focus on the LMP class. Who's going to be the one who wins the overall race? And see what happens.
Now, I think the GT class is probably your biggest class that's up for grabs. Now, it was interesting. So Porsche again made the decision to switch Ferrari from the LMP1 car to represent them in the GT class. So what Porsche is looking for today is an overall victory with RPP, and then they want the GT class with Ferrari as well. So very interesting, but you cannot count out the Frenchman often. You can never count out a Frenchman at the Circuit de la Sarthe. He is your pole sitter in the GT class. So here we go. The start of the race. So Tipper just dive bombed in the pits. Looks like he has damage. So here we go. The start of the 2019 GRG. 24 hours of Le Mans. So we already have one LMP car in the pits from, I assume, the damage on the opening lap. And Das with a huge jump on RPP. Huge jump, already pulling out 2 seconds. He is flying. He has to be on his hybrid. He wants to get ahead. He wants to get out in front and stay out in front quickly. Three seconds. Oh, he is flying. So RPP will probably save his hybrid power for the back straight, the Mulsanne straight. Now in 1991, they added these chicanes because cars were doing 400 kilometers an hour, almost 250 miles per hour.
Cool.
So, the race order, here we go already. BVR DOS. And we got a pass for second, WGI in the Toyota. Already jumps out. Oh, we're going straight, side by side, down into the Mulsanne chicane, the Michelin chicane. RPP on the inside. Will he hold it? Yes, he does. He goes wide in the second half, so that still leaves the option for WGI going down into the Mulsanne corner. WGI already takes the lead using his hybrid power. RPP tucks up behind him. So Warlock is ahead comfortably in the P2 category, ahead of GT. I expect GT just to settle down into rhythm. Warlock is definitely going all out in this race. Computer Puppet third in class. So here we go. Here's what I was talking about. The battle for GTE. Off, they're off. Oh, they are side by side going into Indianapolis. This will be battle to watch. This whole race. Ferrari takes the lead in GT class. So BDF, what do you know about these two drivers?
Not too much. I know Offner, he's repping Ford and he's repping France, so I know the Frenchman will be cheering for him. And you've got Uri, I remember racing him a few times at Indy, and he's repping Porsche. Apparently a last-minute change, jump manufacturers, and I've driven that Porsche before. Granted, it's on Forza, it's a handful, but he's doing a great job holding the lead right now. Porsche versus Ford. Similar to what we saw last year in Real Le Mans. I think Porsche ended up winning that battle though, so maybe we'll see the same here as you see the LMPH car coming in and starting to make his way back through the field after the early pit stop.
So it looks like Tipper had the damage and he...
Oh!
Collision! So Tipper trying to force his way up the field, trying to make up for lost time. Hits Fry. I don't think there was any damage there.
Yeah, he should be fine.
So again, the issue that we had at the start of the race, so... Reload. And number 69 Ford has to make up some time. He's a little bit further back. Hurricane Chris, again, he was in that scuffle before the race started on the formation lap. This gentleman here, GRZ Loss, he has had some difficulties this week. He's had some offs in practice. So, speaking of that, he just has not had that Ferrari set up at all this weekend. This will be certainly a long hour-and-a-half race for this gentleman here. But he's in the championship. Again, he is fourth in the championship. He's just trying to get the points. So, with Outlaw and Jacob not in this race, he could substantially move up to second in the championship. So he is just here for points. And it is a double points race with the endurance race this weekend. The real marker is behind him in the championship points. They are both on 25 actually, so they are both tied for fourth. So real marker could theoretically move up into second in the point standings in the GT class today. So, 3 laps in, and look at what we have. We have the championship leader substantially out ahead, hooked up in this number 8 Audi. Dask has a 12-second lead on WGI. So WGI should move up second in the standings today, but you cannot count this guy out. This is his race to lose. Do you agree, BDF?
Yeah, man, he's got one of the fastest Le Mans cars I've seen in a while. Just flying through those curves, something that he would see in qualifying, but he's doing it in the race. As he just runs a 3:14.9 race pace, incredible. And right now he's already built up such a lead. It's going to be hard for him to lose it. I do agree with you, it is his race to lose at this point.
But, again, as I mentioned earlier, there is rain in the forecast. Was this his plan to just go flat out in the dry and hang on if the rain comes? We will see. And that's why we love Le Mans. It is an endurance race. You don't know what will happen. So for second overall, we have WGI with right now about a 4-second gap to the Porsche of RPP. So this will be an interesting battle for second. But again, if the rain comes, is there something left that somebody has for the rain? The second Toyota, ACR Polaris. He was quick in practice, but unfortunately, due to him being a reserve driver, he had to switch to the Toyota. So he's a little handicapped here, unfortunately for him. But he does have possibly some, ground to gain in the standings. He is currently 8th in the standings, so he can catch up some ground in the standings with being a reserve driver, jumping into the Toyota. So Tipper just trying to make up ground right now. Unfortunately, with the collision on the opening formation lap, just trying to make up ground. So let's go back to the P2 class. So Warlock is substantially leading the P2 class right now. Again, like I said, GT was probably just going to settle into the race rhythm, and it looks like that's what he's done. It's currently an 18-second gap there. So, let's check this out. So it looks like Fry has opened up a 4-second lap on Offner. So it looks like Offner really was only set out for qualifying. He might not have enough downforce for race pace. What are you saying there, BDF?
I mean, it's really hard to tell. It's early in the race, but Furi's definitely got the speed at this point to contest for the win. But, I mean, as you said, it is Lamont, and I think Offner has a little bit of a top speed advantage in that Ford, but it's going to come down to the technical parts if he wants to go and catch Fury. It's possible. Still got an hour and 19 left, but I mean, you never know.
So we're looking at possibly 14 laps before the GTs start running out of fuel, and that's probably their pit window is around 14 laps. The prototypes you're looking at probably 12 to 13 laps depending on what class you're in. Possibly 13 can be stretched out for the P2 cars, definitely 12 for the prototypes. So we're about halfway through the pit window, just about. So we have our first pit stop here. This is possibly for damage, I would assume. So reload was caught up in that early. Yes, this is for damage. This is for that formation lap incident. So this is going to be a long day for the number 69 Ford. Not the way to start at all. Be here 24 hours over more. So what do we have here? So Real Marker is having a struggle there. He just went off at Indianapolis. So he is struggling for grip early. And the number 63 Corvette. So unfortunately, we have 3 cars in GT class that are just looking to possibly get through this next hour and 17 minutes left in the race. So Farai definitely has a gap now on Offner, so he is really stretching it out. As we move into dusk at Circuit de la Sarthe. So the sun's starting to set now. So BDF, when the sun starts to set, what is the worst thing for a driver in this time period? It has to be the sun right in your face, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. The glare is a killer. Definitely is. You can't find your braking points. You can't see the cars in front of you that well. I come from a NASCAR background, and I mean the drivers are putting their hands up trying to protect themselves from the sun's glare. So I think it's going to be tough for these guys, but I also think they'll be able to pull it out. They've had a lot of practice. They know what to expect, I think.
So again, one of the things that come with the night was the lower track temperature. So what's another thing they have to start worrying about with the lower track temperature, BDF?
Let's see here. With a changing track temperature, the grip levels are going to change, of course. So the grip levels change. These drivers are going to have to try to adapt. You're going up. Right now, it's going to be it's a lot warmer than how it's going to be in, I would say, 20, 30 minutes from now. So as you move through the time period, you have to change how you take this track. maybe change how you enter next to the corners. It's just all about adaptability. That's how it is with endurance races. You can't run every lap the same. It's endurance for a reason. So, and the daytime changes go along with it. That'll be a big challenge.
So we're back on with Warlock, who has a pretty comfortable lead to GT, 25 seconds. So again, the track type is just going to start to lower as we progress into the night. So BDF, how many of these guys have you raced against in this game? Or any game?
I'm not very good at Project Cars 2. I think my Xbox just doesn't work very well with that game, so I stick to the spectating, commentating part of Project Cars 2. However, on Forza, I've done one race with GRG, and that was Indianapolis. I've raced with RPP, I've raced with Furai. I know I've raced with GT. I think there's a few more in here that I'm not remembering too well. I know Ethan I raced with, I think. So, I've raced a few of them. They're all pretty quick. And I don't know if Forza is their forte. I think Project Cars is more where they're focused on. So I'm expecting to see something pretty nice in here. But yeah, fairly clean drivers.
Yeah, so you definitely agree that there is quality in the GRG series, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So, we might have a possible battle developing here. So it looks like ACR Polaris is catching RPP. So this is a gentleman that had the late switch from the Audi to the Toyota. And as we've seen with WGR, the Toyota is a little quick. Maybe not as quick as the Audi. But we do have possible race between these two developing. Now again, we're about halfway through the pit cycle. So right now, they could be managing their hybrid system or where they want to attack. So if you're in one of these P1 hybrid cars, BDF, where would you want to use your hybrid system? Would you want to use it on the back straight, or are you looking to maybe pull out of maybe Mulsanne corner with it?
It's tough to say. I think it just depends on who you're fighting with. Because if you're using on the straightaway, of course, you're going to have more power going down the straight. But if you use it coming out of a slow corner, you're going to get so much of a kick out of that as opposed to not using the hybrid engine or the hybrid power that it's just going to be so advantageous if you're going to use it. So I think it depends on who you're trying to go up against. I would say if you're trying to defend, maybe use it out of the corners, or at least if you're trying to clear a pass. But if you're trying to defend, or I guess make get the position back that you just lost, maybe try it on the straightaway when the person doesn't know. It's the mind game. It's just mind games when you're using the hybrid.
It looks like Hurricane Chris is having a unscheduled stop here. He has a little bit of damage it looks like he needs to repair, and we are getting a little bit darker on the circuit. The shadows are lengthening, and the sun is definitely going down. Hurricane Chris is having an issue coming out of the pits here. No, he was just letting the GT car go by. So he is off sequence pit-wise, stopping at lap 6 onto lap 7, so it could be interesting. That could play into his favor if the rain comes. Because if he's on a different pit strategy, he might be leveled off with fuel, and it might just be a normal stop for him, where the other guys might have to just pit for just tires themselves and not fuel. So maybe going off sequence could come into his favor. He definitely has a long gap to make up, but it could play factor. So we're back on board with the GT leader Farai, who has some, might be reload in front of him. He's going to try and lap in the number 69 Ford. So right now, it looks like Porsche only has one of the two victories in hand. Oh, and did we miss something here? Yes, we did. I am sorry, viewers. We missed a pass for the last podium position. So like I was saying before, RPP has been slow. And Polaris passed him. So it looks like Polaris has some left front damage. His left front light is not on, so he is certainly being handicapped here. So he might have gone off somewhere. But he's taken third place from RPP. So that's certainly interesting.
Toyota's starting to go on a charge here. Got two of their guys on the podium now. They just got to get the one that matters the most. First place.
And that's... and right now that's going to be a little difficult with that nearly 30-second lead that VBR Dast has on WGI. This is just incredible. This is an absolute man on a mission that is trying to get a huge gap here.
He's got a lot of pace in that thing. It's sort of like the Toyotas the past few years going up against the non-hybrid cars, but there's still plenty of time. So right now he is a man on a mission, as you said earlier. Definitely clocking in some very respectable times, especially for race pace.
So we have a minute 8 left in the race. We're not even a third into the contest yet. But with a 32-second lead, he has definitely some room for error. So, RPP is now 4 seconds behind ACR Polaris. So yes, to confirm with the onboard, ACR Polaris does have some left side damage. So here he is coming up on a GT car, one of the Ferraris. And that is Giorgi Lost, who is now third place in the GT class. So he's past real marker on the circuit here. So Lost is turning this possible bad weekend into a podium as RPP goes by him going into the Mulsanne corner. So that's a decent weekend though for somebody who has had some troubles all weekend, and as we saw, spun it in the Dunlop corners earlier. I would take a podium, wouldn't you, BDF?
I know exactly how he feels. I think it was a WEC Super Season, sort of like this, but on Forza. And I got wrecked in turn 1, got damaged and everything. And I had to drive the rest of that race like with an ill-handled car. It wasn't great, and then at the end I realized I finished it in second. I was going nuts, even though I obviously would have wanted to win. But even if things are going not so good, you keep fighting through it, and that is what Lost has done over this past week, even struggling on the track. But right now he's doing good. He's up on a podium position, and we'll see if he can keep it up, bring that Ferrari home.
That's the beauty of endurance racing. It's not a sprint race. It is just endurance racing. So what happened? Wait a minute. We had... Oh, no!
Oh!
Polaris is off. Polaris is... Oh, that is major damage in the second half of the Porsche corners. That is a huge off. That is a huge off. He has damaged both the front and rear of the car. He is trying to get back to the... Oh, struggling to get it back to the pits.
I'm surprised that thing's still running.
So he will have a lengthy pit. Did he contact a car? So lost his pitting, off their pitting. Did he possibly Tipper's pitting? So do you think he possibly hit a car going in the Porsche corner?
I would not be surprised.
How hard is it to... It is a difficult set of corners to pass GT cars, isn't it, PDF?
Mm-hmm. I've done a Le Mans race here. I was a P1 going up against GTs, and you have to be very careful when you're trying to pass somebody here because it's fast and it's basically a one-line thing. You mess up trying to pass somebody, you're going off the road. Actually, a few hours ago in the Le Mans race, I forgot who, I think it was a Chevy trying to pass a GT car, and ended up messing up, and race is over. So it's really difficult. It needs to be even harder to do it in these cars because you're going much faster than the car you're trying to pass. So unfortunate to see that happen. Looks like the car is fairly fixed up. We'll see how much he can get back in this next hour and 3 minutes or so. But definitely a setback. Maybe one of the worst times to do it.
But he has a quick car underneath him, from what we have seen earlier. It might be a bit damaged, but it doesn't look like he went a lap down. Did he go a lap down?
I think he's fine. I think he's still in the limo. Yeah.
So again, we got Tipper, who had that unfortunate beginning of the race, now up to 4th place, so he's worked his way up the field.
We actually might, sorry to interrupt, but we actually might be having a battle for the lead here. I'm looking at the time gaps.
What is going on here? The DAS go off.
Oh no, there's a caution. I think.
So have
safety car.
we gone code 60? We have gone code 60 due to Polaris' shunt in the Porsche curves. We've gone code 60. So this is interesting. So we're going into a third of the race. We got lap 9. Will anybody pit during this code 60? Would you pit, BDF?
If there's going to be any time to pit, I'd say do it now. And I think that's actually why we had 3 or 4 people come in at the same time, because they knew that something like this would come out. So they tried to come in and go for an undercut. But if you're in the lead, if you're DASed, you have 2 options here. You know you've got the speed. I think he's got the speed if he were to pit to go back through the field and get everybody. Or he could stay out here and just maintain his lead, because in my opinion, regardless if you pit or not, as long as you have the same number of quote-unquote green flag stops left, it's up to you. It really comes down to track position, but if I was him, I'd say go and pit, because he seems to have the car to beat out here, and your life is much easier if you know you've got the speed.
So, DAS pits, WGI pits, RPP stays out. So RPP is just going to go to the end of the pit window. So here we have first and second on the circuit going into the pits. for a relatively early stop. So again, we have rain on the way. So is this the thought here to pit now? And then just short fuel for when the rain comes in?
It comes down to if you know when the rain's exactly going to come. Because you mentioned earlier that they know. You never know when the rain's going to come. It could come right as the sun sets, might come right at the end of the race. So I think these drivers know a little better than we do about the rain. So it's tough to tell, but we'll just have to see what happens for the next hour.
So the driver who has probably gained the most here is Tipper. And he pits again for the second time. So he's looking to get on the same fuel window as DAS and WGI. So he gained a lot of time right here, not only on the circuit but also pit strategy. So that kind of washes out his first pit.
Back in the game.
So looks like GT Racer 21 stayed out ahead of Warlock. So again, with an hour into the race, the standings are as we are in a safety car code 0. RPP, first place in the Porsche, number 1. VRB DAS and the Audi number 8 is second. WGI and the Toyota number 6 is third. So there is your overall podium. ACR Polaris, who has to make up ground after his off in the Porsche curves, which is the reason we have this safety car, is fourth. Tipper 2 trying to make up ground for the incident on the formation lap is fifth. GT21, who I said earlier is just setting into a groove. He's taking the long approach, is number 1 in the P2 category. Warlock, who's got out early in the P2 category, is second. Pewter Puppet is third in the P2 category. And a little bit of a shake-up here in this caution. Fry, who again switched from the LMP1 Porsche to the GT Porsche, is first. Real Marker up to second place in the number 63 Corvette. Hoffner, who went and pitted on the safety car in the number 68 Ford, is third in class. GRG lost his podium with a pit, and the 51 Ferrari is fourth in class. Hurricane Chris is on the bottom of the P2 class in fourth, and Reload in the Ford number 69, who was part of that incident in the formation lap, is fifth. So it looks like we possibly could go green next time around. So we are fully into the night. So BDF, with it being fully into the night, how is it driving in the nighttime in Le Mans?
Well, thankfully you have. Oh, well, somebody just hit
So
the
who
wall.
was
I'm not
that?
sure. I think it was Tipper.
We have Tipper trying to warm up his tires. Sorry to interrupt, but again, the circuit is cold. Yes, we are trying to warm up your. As a driver, you want to warm up the tires, but you definitely do not want to do that. How damaged is this car? That was a substantial hit to the left side. So we will see definitely when we go to green how bad that car is damaged. Anyway, BDF, how is it like driving at night?
Well, I haven't driven at night at this track per se, but I have at Spawn, I have at Sebring, I've had many tracks without circuit lights, and it's pretty scary. I think the main thing you want to worry about is to keep your headlights intact, because if you lose your headlights, you basically lose your car. As somebody's flickering, I think that's GT flickering them down the straight. You just want to make sure you have those in handy. And it also becomes very beneficial because if you're a prototype driver, you can flicker your lights to tell a GT car saying, hey, I'm coming through. So driving at night has some benefits like that, but it also has some disadvantages.
And what did you see
and it's
on the camera
raining.
lens at the Porsche curves?
It's raining, boys.
So this is very, very interesting. So the rain finally came. So again, we had drivers who had just pitted the safety car. And what did I say before with RPP? He stayed out. So he is still on his standard fuel window of 12 laps. So he stayed out. The other guy stayed in, and here we go. So we have a whole lot of cars ducking in into the pits.
I think RPP played this perfectly.
So that stays out. Everybody in. Almost everybody in. Dash stays out. GRG. Peter Puppet stays out. So we got nearly everybody in the pits here. So this is the chance for Tipper, if he had any issues with his damage, that will be rectified. So we are back to green. But how long does that stay out? Again, he has a quick car. But how quick is it in the rain? So this is a huge, huge, huge development here.
Yeah, that was one of our questions going in. We were like, well, he's got so much speed in the dry. How is that going to translate if it starts raining? Well, we're going to get our answer pretty soon. I mean, I don't know why he stayed out an extra lap. There might be a chance he may have gone for a gamble and put on rain tires for the dry, but knowing that it was going to rain in the next few minutes. But that definitely would have been a risk if he actually were to do that. So right now he's got a lead. A pretty sizable lead. If he chooses to come in, he'll probably cycle out either first, second, or third, maybe fourth, depending on how quick his lap is.
I would say probably fourth.
The track doesn't seem horribly wet at the moment, so he might be able to stay out there for a few more laps before sneaking in.
So this is where the rain is, heading down into Indianapolis. So with the circuit being a 8.4 mile circuit, the rain can be on one side of the circuit and completely dry on the other. So it looks like from Mulsanne, the end of Mulsanne corner, by halfway down into Indianapolis, and definitely into Porsche curves, there is rain. Now in practice, when we had rain, the biggest issue was the Mulsanne corner, and we're seeing raindrops at the Mulsanne corner right now. So, Tipper is right behind Polaris in the out.
Tipper's on podium right now.
So we have, here we go. So Tipper, 4 second right now to ACR Polaris, pressuring him. going down to the Porsche curse, and now this is where the rain's at. ACR Polaris has a Chevrolet that is real marker ahead of him that he's trying to pass and has gone into Porsche curse. Polaris trying to hold off Tipper. Tipper goes on the outside in the car and cannot make the move. Again, another GT car ahead. A Ferrari going down into the Ford chicanes. Tipper hard on the brakes into the Ford chicane. Cannot make the pass. It's way too tight here. Will he go into the Dunlop curves under the bridge and make the pass there? So let's go on board with Tipper. Detroit goes off. It is definitely raining in the Dunlop curves now. We can definitely see it. The drivers have to put on their wipers. It is definitely coming down now. So we have hard rain on the circuit. Down in Terret Rouge, onto the Mulsanne. Looks like he's on the hybrid. He's going to make a move. Is he going to make a move? Yes, easily. Easily makes the move. So Tipper, for all the problems he has, is now into second place. 48 minutes left in the race. It is definitely getting wet. So Polaris passed the back. So we're going to have a yo-yo here. These guys are just going to draft each other back and forth. Now this is where the puddles start forming. Right into the braking zone. Into these chicanes is where these puddles start forming. So Tipper goes wide there, so we got a battle here for a second. So, as you see in the timing and scoring, these drivers are catching on Dast. So Dast is definitely still on slicks. They are just eating that time away from him. So this is definitely crossover points. So we definitely will see Dast. So again, Tipper, we have a definite huge battle here for a second.
This will probably be for
in the Audi again takes P2 going to Indianapolis. This could be dicey going into here. Again, this is a double braking area. You brake first going to Indianapolis and then second into the bank corner. Polaris gives them a little bit of room. Going into Arnage. And looks like Tipper has opened up a little bit of a gap here. So Das into the pits from the lead. He is definitely pitting on 2 rain tires. So he has a 26-second gap, 2-second 25. It is coming down significantly. So again, this is a question that we need answered. Did he pit too early? Just a quick splash of fuel and onto the rain tires.
Peter Puppet comes in behind him.
He stayed out as well. So there we go. Polaris into the lead. Tipper second. Das comes out in fourth. So he was not able to keep ahead of RPP. He takes over third now in the overall standings.
He also
so this is a fight for the lead now, BDF.
We thought Das was going to be the clear jumper here, but no, we got a Toyota out in front now. ACR Polaris takes the lead with Tipper in second. RPP's out there in third, and the other Toyota after that horrible crash is actually looped up into fourth. So actually no, this is the Wait, was the Polaris the guy that crashed? I think it may have been Polaris. It was either Polaris or the Toyota in fourth, but after a struggle start for the Toyota drivers, I mean, they are beating the Audis right now, and you got a Porsche in third, so right now, any of these 5 can win. There's still 45 minutes left. Any of these 5 can win. Dast, throughout this race, has been, looks like has been the
heavy
faster
into
car.
the braking.
As he makes the move for fourth.
Dast.
We'll see if he continues
Heavy
his
into
march
the
to the
brake.
field.
So these are the guys who were first and second to qualify. So let's go on board with WGI. And you look at the spray the drivers are dealing with right now. It is wet, wet, wet out there. Struggling for grip. So as a driver with that spray in your face, what are you worried about, BDF?
And there's a lot you can be worried about with the spray in your face. And not only spray, it's at nighttime. It's already hard to deal with one of them, but you got to deal with both. That's even worse. But spray is really difficult because you got to make sure you know where to brake and you know where the cars are in front of you. When you get spray, it's just so hard to see as you see WGI get up right behind them. It's so hard to see, especially when it comes down to braking zones. So it's one thing, you could stay out of their spray, but you'll be compensating your line. So it's difficult, very difficult to be running behind somebody, especially in the rain. Hopefully the rain clears up and hopefully the sun comes out as well and we get a fair shot to the end. But rain race is exciting.
GT that simply just lets him, goes offline, lets him through. That's a smart move right now for how difficult the conditions are. So again, the battle for first, ACR Polaris is now behind Tipper. Tipper has about a 1 second lead in the Audi on the Toyota. So ACR the number 5 Toyota and Tipper in the number 7 Audi. We have a very interesting 24 hours of Le Mans. 42 seconds left in the 42 minutes left in the race. Tipper really, really struggling for traction out of the second Ford chicane. So it is extremely treacherous out there. So even with the rain tires and how cool the temperature is now at night, it is a struggle for grip out there.
I got a battle for the lead going. It looks like from the intervals, Das may be pulling away from the guy in fourth and is now catching RPP. It might be in a battle for third soon.
So let's go to that. So definitely, our questions are answered. He has a quick car in the dry and the wet. Das is trying to make up time for pitting off sequence with the other drivers. So how far do we have a time from?
Ooh!
What's the gap from? Oh, RPP goes off. So that's an easy pass. That's a real easy pass for Das. So, with conditions like this, BDF, are you looking to make a pass or are you just hoping for the guy in front to make a mistake so it's easy for you?
Well, I would say you gotta go try and make the pass, but what we saw right there kind of contradicts that. But I think Dost, he has the car to make the pass. The question is, does he also have the car to just be able to patiently ride behind somebody and wait for them to make a mistake? Because he has the speed. It's not like he doesn't have the capability. The question is, how risky is it to make the pass, especially when you have a sort of dry line that'll start to form in a few minutes. So it's really this debate to see what you're gonna do, but I think Das has the car to do whatever he wants to do.
And that's all you want as a driver, right? To have that confidence of that car, to put it where you want to put it, correct? What's it
Absolutely.
like to have that confidence in your car?
It makes such a difference if you actually have the confidence in your car as opposed to not. Because you don't have the confidence, you can't make a pass as much as you would like, and you've got to sort of wait on it to make a move. But if you have the confidence in your car, you feel like you're on top of the world. You can do anything. You can make any sort of pass. You believe, hey, I'm faster than everybody that I need to be faster than. And confidence is power in anything that you do. So I think to have confidence in a car just puts you on an entirely new level, especially when the conditions are not as favorable as otherwise.
So, here we go. Das is pushing Polaris for second. Coming through the Porsche corners. Pass into karting. Coming down the Ford chicane. Looks like he's too far back right now to make a move. But he could going down to Dunlop Bridge. It's just way too tight to pass right here. So they have a GT car in front of them. Looks like that's Ferrari. He should give away to them. Looks like they might have another lap car ahead of them going into the Dunlop Bridge. He doesn't make the pass.
There he goes.
Going on the inside into the S's. And yes, it's been done. So, Tipper. Did he have enough? He had about a 5-second lead, but it has dissolved. So we now have Audi 1-2.
Look at them fly.
Just lets him by. Just lets him by. Didn't want to mess with it. He knows his teammate is faster. He knows his teammate is faster. Just go.
Oh, Tipper takes the lead back.
Does he? With the lap traffic there.
Oh, and Gas is going to take it back from him.
So what'd you do, Team Motors, right now? If you're director of Audi right now, would you instill Team Motors, or are you going to let these guys race?
I would say no, because I think these two are having a decent battle. As long as you don't crash, that's all you ask for, especially when you're teammates. Just don't crash the car when you're fighting. And right now they're having a very good battle. Now, if they were to wreck, then I would change my team order strategy, but I think letting these two fight right now is probably the best thing to do. We're trying to win Le Mans. It's a big race.
Oh, and
right
goes,
there, pass for the lead.
There we go. What we were talking about before, Mulsanne corner. The most treacherous corner right now with the wet conditions. As the light, the sun begins to rise at Circuit de la Sarre. So this is what they like to call happy hour time. The sun starts to rise behind the trees. You know you're close to finishing. You have struggled through the nighttime, and now you know the end of the race is coming. The Tipper is now leading, and we still have this battle for first between the two Audis. So they now have a 4-second gap on Polaris and the Toyota for third. And you just can't pull away from this. There are no other battles that are certainly as close as this overall battle right now. "36 minutes left in the race. The sun is rising. So, we still have rain. I don't think the circuit's going to dry out before the end of this race. What do you think, BDF?
I think it has the potential to dry up, but it needs to stop relatively soon. I think it really comes down to dry tires versus wet tires. Because if it stops raining now, sure, it'll dry up. And I think maybe I would say 5 or 10 minutes after it stops raining, the dry tires would be preferable. The problem is you lose about 50 seconds to a minute down pit road, 40 to a minute down pit road. And to be honest, is it worth that much time just to be faster? So that's a big question here, regardless of when it stops raining or not. But I mean, I don't think those two are worried about that right now because they have a fight. And hopefully this lasts for 35 more minutes.
So here we go again. Das takes a lead on the Mulsanne from his teammates going into the Forza chicane. Does Tipper fight back? Comes heavy on the brakes. Accelerates out. It looks like the rain tires are working pretty well for these Audis. And here comes Tipper again. Out of the Forza chicane. In the toe. Looks like he's a bit too far back now going into the Michelin chicane. But again, this is the way it was going in the Mulsanne corner, and Das outbraked himself going into the Mulsanne corner. Does it happen again?
I think Das has gone back to his earlier race form. I don't know how many mistakes he's going to make from now to the end, but he seems to be high rolling.
Looks like he was heavy on the hybrid coming out of the Michelin chicane and has just accelerated away. So he has a lap car ahead of him. Oh! Did the lap car not see him? So again, the prototype cars, as you see, have the light colored headlamps, and the GT cars have the amber headlamps. So you definitely know if you're in a GT which class is coming up behind you. So Das has already opened up a about 3-second lead to Tipper, as Tipper gets a little bit held up with the traffic.
We actually might be having a battle for third. Well, maybe not. I think the gap is sort of extended a little bit. It's closer than it was before.
So yeah, under 2 seconds. Looks like RPP is getting a little bit held up, unfortunately, by that lap traffic. So that extends it out a little bit, but here we are for the last step of the podium. Is it going to be an Audi 1-2 here at Le Mans? So let's check on the P2 category. So we have Warlock, who again who had that early pit stop and then took the lead back from GT Racer 21. So he was definitely the leader for the P2 category in qualifying, looked to be the one to take the category for the race, and it looks like that's going to happen. So GT Racer 21 is looking for the second step of the podium. Peter Puppet is looking for third. He's pretty comfortable in that position right now. He has a 46-second gap on Hurricane Chris for P2. And then let's look at the... So, while we were looking at the battle for P1, we completely ignored the GT class. And look at who's in first place in the GT class. Who else but a Frenchman and a Ford? Just like Sebastian Bourdais, we have a Frenchman in first place in a Ford at Le Mans. Offner is now leading the GT category. we apologize to him, you know, but, you know, the overall class takes precedent over all the other classes, so we apologize to him, but he is now leading the GT class by about a minute on to loss. So again, the guy who had the most issues this weekend was set up. Look at where he's at, BDF. He's in second place. So we have Farai, who is now in third. And that could be the reason why. You look at the left side of his car, and he has major damage. So he had an off somewhere, as now struggling with his car. With his car. And there he goes off again. So he's definitely struggling with his car. Did he go on dry tires? Now we know what type of a driver he is. There's no way he went on dry tires, did he?
I hope he didn't.
I wouldn't. I hope he didn't. But he has an issue. He is now only 30 seconds ahead of the struggling Corvette as well. So we have a Corvette with damage as well. Did these guys collide? So we have right damage for real marker. And we have left damage for right. I wonder if these two guys collided.
That would have been very unfortunate, but I don't know, I'm really not sure, because Furai seemed to have distanced himself between real marker and lost in second, so unless those two got together in a pit cycle or something, I mean, it'd be difficult for me to believe, but if you look at the damage on both cars, there's a chance. Definitely a chance.
1 + 1 = 2, right, BDF?
Maybe.
I think we have our 1 and 1 and we equal 2. So, with 2/3 of the race down, we have VBR Dast in the Audi number 8. First overall. Tipper in the Audi number 7. In second place, ACR Polaris, who was in the Audi but got bumped as a reserve entry to the Toyota number 5 in third. RPP in Porsche number 1, fourth. And WGI in Toyota number 6, fifth in the LMP1 category. Then we have a P2 leader in number 56, Warlock, and second in the LMP2 category, GT Racer 21 in the 35, Ligier. Pewter Puppet, third in the category. And Hurricane Chris is now fourth in the LMP category. Again, we have Offner in the number 66 Ford GT. Lost in the number 51 Ferrari, second in the GT category. And GRG Ferrari in the number 91 Porsche, third. For now, as we have Real Marker in the 63 Corvette, fourth. And Reload in the number 69 Ford. So, this could be interesting here. So we have 26 minutes left in the race. So we have as Real Marker goes off at Indianapolis. So we have two cars in the GT category with damage. So there definitely is going to be one more stop left in this race, as the sun is brightly out and we have a dry line forming on the circuit. So the drivers will have to certainly do one more pit stop before the end of this race. So, with that being said, does Reload make up the time and get on this podium? What is the difference between him and Farai right now. BDF. The time
Look
difference.
if the intervals are correct, it's a little bit over a minute. And that's a tall order to do in about 25 minutes, I think. If you're going to try to do that, that's about how long laps take here, around 7 to 8 seconds a lap. I think the only way, unfortunately, the only way Reload could find himself on the podium is if something happens to where the weather changes or he plays an absolutely beautiful tire call, which is possible, of course, but it's going to be difficult for him to get up to third. But I mean, props to him. He's had a tough race, but he's running out there pretty well right now.
So as you see right now, he is gaining massive amounts of time as Real Marker pits. So they're going to repair the damage, right? They have to repair this damage.
They better. They better repair the damage. It could be bad. This is the perfect time to do it. I mean, he was due for a pit anyways, so I think they should repair the damage. Cost them a little bit of time, but I would rather be making the lost time now than on the track for the final 24 minutes or so.
So Reload's coming through the fourth chicane right now, so he will definitely take over fourth in the category as Real Marker waits in the pits for his damage repair. So as Reload takes over fourth. So as you see, going into the Dunlop Bridge, the circuit is still wet. Still very, very wet. Peter Puppet pits in the P2 category, so Hurricane Chris now takes third in that category. Should be a normal stop for Peter Puppet. I don't think he has any damage there. A slight repair for damage from what it looks like. He might have had a slight off. So this was going to be my pick for first overall, WGI. He's had an unfortunate race so far, but he has gained a lot of time on ACR Polaris and RPP, so WGI could be in for a podium yet so far this race.
I think this will be the battle we look at.
Let's go on board with the New York driver as we go into Indianapolis. Quite a few drivers have gone off in the second part here as the spray comes up on his windshield. Down into our nausea, very low. First, maybe second gear corner, depending on how you're feeling going into it. As he goes into first. So this is a very, very good battle for the last step of the podium. As you can see, still very, very wet going into the Porsche Cruise.
Ooh.
He goes wide into the first corner. Has to gather up for the next sequence of corners. So he lost a lot of time there. Some puddles into karting. There's still quite a few puddles there. I don't think it's going to be a dry tire call, but who knows? Somebody might take a gamble.
Yeah, right now it's way too early. I think that dry tires will come into play. I think by the end of this race, dry tires will be faster. The question is, how long will that take? Because yes, you're faster on the dry tires if that were to happen, but at the same time, you're losing so much time on the track. So it might come down to a guessing game, and I think between these three, whoever plays that guessing game the best is going to finish on the podium.
So there definitely are still some puddles out there to cool your wet tires. So As we know, with the higher tread of the wet tire, it overheats quickly. So are these guys going to be searching for those puddles to cool those wet tires off so they don't overheat excessively?
I think it's a tough call. I mean, I'm not sure what the drivers are thinking right now. I think they are trying to go for third. Let's see. Who's going to have... What can I do in order to make myself faster and run down the car in front of me, or in WGI's case, the other car in front of me as well? So, I guess tire puddle or going into puddles might be the way that some of these guys are going out, but for somebody like RPP who's trying to defend off two people, I'm not sure what he's going to be doing. Probably not going to focus on losing time in the puddles, because you go in the puddle, it causes you to lose time, you lose control of your car a little. So it really just comes down to give and take. Can't have it both ways. Which way is going to be the best way? The best way for you to finish in the position that you want to finish in. Off a little, WGI gets caught out there because of the heavy braking motion.
So the man right now in third place, RPP. And held up by a little bit of traffic there by the Ferrari. So is he just holding on at this point right now, or do you think he has enough confidence to be ahead for the rest of this race in third place? PDF.
It's hard to tell because him and Polaris have been dueling for the past like 30 minutes. So I don't think there's too much of a speed difference between these two, especially since they've been able to hold together for long. I don't know how much confidence he has. I think he's got quite a bit, though. He was able to make the pass and has been able to hold it, but you can't let your foot off the gas pedal just yet. You've still got 18 minutes to fight for third, and none of these drivers are going to be giving up.
So it looks like WGI is still kind of struggling with grip with these mixed circuit conditions right now. Does he make the gamble? He's got nothing to lose. He's in fifth, right? Does he make that gamble for the pits? And we have Warlock in the pits for P1 in the P2 category. Looks like a pretty routine standard stop for him. And he
Warlock
should easily...
Warlock has ran one of the most clean races I've seen at Le Mans in a while. He's just been, it feels like he's been out front forever, and he's built up such a lead that even if he does pit, he should come out easily ahead of GT. And all the power to him. I think GT, he's in a pretty safe position as well, so he can do what he wants to do here. But back to what you were saying about WGI in fifth, I think he's got nothing to lose. Go for the gamble. I mean, there's 15 minutes left, and you don't have much time to gamble anyway. So if he wants to do it, he's got to do it relatively soon.
But again, can he make up that 50 to a minute, that we were talking about before? Is it that big of a gamble? Can he make up that big of a difference? Don't know.
It's really hard to say. Usually, when you're the guy in second, you're the guy in third, behind somebody. Whatever they do, you do the opposite. You do something to change it up. Pit road, they're taking tire, or they're going for a pit stop, don't do it, and vice versa. So we'll see if he applies that here in the last few minutes of this race, as Hurricane Chris has a little bit of right front damage. I'm not too sure what happened there, but
looks like he had a major off. He was struggling to get back to the pits. He came way off the circuit in the Ford chicane, trying to make it to his pit box, and looks like he's going to do that now. And it looks like Peter Puppet should take over that third place there. He is just coming out of Arnage But how long will that repair take for Hurricane Chris? Looks like it's going to be a lengthy repair. So back to the GT battle. So again, Reload is in 4th after Real Maker's pit stop there. It looks like Real Maker has been off again. Real Marker has been off again.
Right
so yeah, 15 minutes left. You just want to just bring it home and be done at that point, right? BDF.
I mean, he's sitting 5th at Le Mans, so it's a great result. I think he wants more, but at the same time, he's so far behind the next guy. Maybe he's just gonna finish it out for pride, but unlike WGI, I'm not sure if he has a chance to go for 4th.
So Pewter Puppet has had an off as well. So the guy we thought that was going to take over 3rd place from Hurricane Chris is back in the pits. So that ruins his race for a podium position. So he has to come in for repairs. He had a big off on his front of his car. And here is your GT leader off there. The tipper for his scheduled stop. We knew that the guys would have to have 2 stops this race. Looks like he's in for his stop. And off there should be a routine stop here. Looks like he's not going for any tires.
I know.
So
Like to mention earlier, Lost over here. He's had to fight through this week of struggles, but he's running in 2nd right now. And you never know. He's still got 13 minutes left. He could still have a shot at Le Mans, especially if he can get closer to Offner after these pit sequences. But Ferrari's actually doing well in real life too. Oh, never mind. They did just get passed for the lead. But Ferrari's doing a good job in real life too, sitting 2nd in the pro class. I think they are now. And actually Lost takes the lead. So
this is a lengthy stop for Offner. So did he have damage? Did he go off somewhere?
And Fiorani makes it.
That's a long stop for Offner. So he must have had an off or something somewhere to cause that long of a stop. So that's interesting. So we have the guy who, maybe this was the one guy who set his car up for the wet instead of the dry. Just maybe the guy who played the long game.
PRI is closing though. 6-second difference that 6. I can't. Yeah, 7-second difference that lap. And then Offner on these dry tires is going to be coming as well.
So GRG pits. GT Racer pits from 2nd in the Prototype 2 category. It's been an uneventful race for him, which is fine at Le Mans. If you don't have any offs, if you don't have any mechanical issues, it's a good race usually for you, right?
Mm-hmm. Running. Usually it's better to have nothing happening during the race, even if it's something good, than something actually happening, because I mean, you've had a quiet race, as you said, nothing's gone wrong, and that's what's happening for him right now. Not making too much noise, but at the same time, he's running in 2nd, and right now he's going to have a comfortable gap as Das comes in, but he's going to have
here we go, the leader, overall leader of the race, Das comes into the pits. No tires, so he's not going on dry tires, so he thinks it's still too wet out there to go to dry tires. Just a quick splash and dash for Das, the overall leader. So, there's your final stop. Didn't have quite enough of a gap to pull the car into the garage and polish it off, as most overall winners of Le Mans do, but he should come out comfortably ahead of Polaris.
RPP comes in from 2nd, I think.
So there's your Porsche as WGI takes over 3rd. Still no change for tires, so these guys are still staying on wet tires. Looks like just a fuel stop for RPP. As Tipper takes over fourth from him. A little bit of mechanical repairs for RPP. As Tipper is pressuring WGI, and WGI goes off. So Tipper definitely comfortably takes over third spot from WGI, who has struggled this race. So ACR Polaris is now in second in the Toyota number 5. So Das, all he has to do is keep the car straight, and he will be the 2019 GRG 24 Hours of Le Mans overall winner and extend his point lead in the WC Super Season Championship. As Hurricane Chris pits again. Oh, He had a big off. That is a big off. Is that a possible retirement? That is going to be a lengthy stop. So Peter
Track
Puckett
is certainly drying.
So he will.
Because
Peter
Fiore
Puckett
just
will
ran
take
a
over
401.
third. The 401. So that is a huge, huge quick lap there. So Hurricane Chris looks like he is retired possibly, or has extensive damage. So let's take a look here. So Offner is in third, 7 seconds behind Ferrari. And how long of a gap to Lost, who has not pitted yet? I do not believe he's had his second stop. So with 8 minutes left in the race, we have Das, Polaris, Tipper, WGI, and RPP is your LMP1 category. Warlock, GT Racer 21, Peter Puppet, and it looks like we have had a retirement. Yes, we have had a retirement. So Hurricane Chris has retired his number 4 Ligier. As whoa, we have Lost having an off in his Ferrari, as he is the leader of the GT category. Ferrari is second, Offner is fourth, Reload is Offner is third, Reload is fourth, and Merker is fifth. So with the off,
Fiore is there.
yep. So this is your battle for first place in the GT category. As Lost almost goes off again at Mulsanne. The Ferrari
Actually,
might be able to salvage something for Porsche here with an overall GT category victory with his damage that he is struggling with.
not only do we have a battle for the win but in GT, but it looks like we also have a battle for second in LMPH. And just LMP.
So the P1 category, we have Tipper trying to close the gap to Polaris. We have 2 podium battles going on right now.
RPP made another stop. It's going to ruin his chance of the podium.
Oh, and did he make it? No.
What a run.
So Polaris holds off Tipper as of right now for the second place overall. So here we go into Mulsanne quarter where it's still wet,
Oh, he runs wide.
Outbreaks himself. Polaris outbreaks himself, and Tipper easily takes the inside and takes over second position overall. Can Polaris fight back going down to Indianapolis? We'll stay with this battle for just now.
RPP is retired.
RPP has retired.
And Lost
we have
pits for the lead.
retard. So there we go. So Lost had to pit. This is about the right stop time for it. So he had to pit. He had to get fuel. He had to get fuel. I don't think Furai can make it. There's no way he can make it on fuel. We've had 24 laps. It's going to be close. It's going to be close. So the GT cars could definitely make it 14 laps on fuel. Wow. It would be impressive if he pulls this off. So Offner goes to second. So there's a 5-second gap between first and second GT categories. So this is not over yet. This is definitely not over yet. With about 4 minutes to go. So let's go back to second. So here we go. So Polaris pits. So Polaris has to pit for a splash of fuel. So there we go. So as of right now, Audi's going to finish first and second in this race. Tipper, the late entrant that didn't think he was going to make this race, finds himself second overall. As Toyota, again, we know the heartbreak that they go through. Again, it looks like they're not going to win Le Mans again. Looks like they will finish third and fourth with RPP's retirement for Porsche. So let's go back to the GTE battle. So right now, Offner can see his opponent on the straight.
Uri is definitely saving fuel. He was putting little to no throttle going down the straight, and you can see the gap is closing between the two as well.
So, when you're a driver, you can see your opponent. You've had the gap closing down. What is going through his mind right now, BDO? What is going through Offner's mind?
Offner, I feel like he's been sort of cheated out because he was running second mainly at the beginning, but as we got into the night shift, he started really putting the gap, and he just figured out everyone's going to make one more pit stop and I'll be fine. But Uri has been able to stay out a little longer, but he's got to make it to this lap, and he's got to make one more, maybe two more, depending on where the prototype leader is. So I think if you're Offner, you just got to start pushing now. Because still, this is a long track, big track, but time is starting to run out, and he's making the time, though.
So he has 24 liters of fuel right now, so that's enough to make it for the end, but is his car just too damaged? That has to be what's going on, is his car has to be just too damaged.
Either it's the car, or maybe he's on the wrong set of tires. Unless Offner put on... If Offner put on dries, that would explain a lot. Because he's been making inroads. Especially on the fore half, where there's not as many puddles as opposed to the back half of the track, like at Arnage and the end Mulsanne.
So Ferrari was saving fuel. He's definitely not doing it now because it's the gap's kind of stabilizing at 2 seconds. So let's go on.
Actually, Furai ran fast that round.
So yeah, he definitely is turning up his fuel mixture. So let's go on board with Ferrari with less than a minute to go here in the race. So this is it. So this is the GT race right here.
Yes, this will be the final lap because I think that was Doss, the guy who just passed him. Doss. So these guys are on their final lap.
So out of Tret Rouge, onto the Mulsanne Straight. So will the tricolor, the French tricolor, be on top of the GT podium? We are about to find out. As he tries to pick up a draft. He's closing. He's
the gap
closing
is coming down.
Massively into the Forza chicane. He definitely has a toe into the Forza chicane. Oh no, he spins! He spins! Off their spins! In the Forza chicane, he spins. Almost takes out Tipper. Trying to get back to the circuit. So that's it. That's your GT winner. All he has to do is just keep it on the circuit.
And Das also, he's, I think, approaching the end of the Mulsanne Straight. He's got just a few more, not a few more, but he's got a few more minutes left before he gets the win as well. So, these guys have ran great races. Even with Furai, last second switch to GTLM for Porsche, I believe. And despite the struggles in LMP1, they're going to get one here in the GTE category.
His car is so damaged.
If everything holds.
His car is so damaged, the game thinks he's floating in the air. This is the struggle that he's had. It's not over yet. Offner has closed the gap, so this might go down to the last corner here. This isn't over. I'm sorry, but this is not over yet.
Oh, I agree with you. It isn't over yet, especially since Offner's definitely got the straight line, in my opinion. Although it looks like Furai's starting to get a bit of it back, though.
So did Offner have another incident? As Das goes through the Porsche curve for the last time. Through karting into the Ford chicane. He's had a brilliant race. He got pole, fastest lap, and now the race victory. BBR Das wins the 2019 GRG 24 Hours of Le Mans in Audi number 8. Brilliant drive. Absolutely brilliant drive. Looks like Offner has caught it.
Oh, Offner's off again. Oh,
it's over. It is officially over now. So Tipper is going to take second for Audi. Would you believe it? An Audi 1-2. As Furai.
Also Porsche. Furai off the final. He's gonna win for Porsche. How about that?
He's
Maybe
gonna
a
win
sign
for
to come
Porsche.
in the next 12 hours.
What a race for him. Tipper finishes in second. ACR Polaris coming through the Porsche curves for third for Porsche. For Toyota. So Toyota's going to pick up third and fourth. So we have two manufacturers back to back. RPP unfortunately could not finish for Porsche. So Polaris will pick up third place overall. It's not first, but it's still a podium at Le Mans. So Offner's off again. He has not crossed the line yet. So did we just see?
Wow. Lost, like, I don't care. I just got in the second place. I'm going to cut the track now.
So Offner.
It's like Lost got it.
Yes, Offner falls to third, so he must have seriously damaged his car in that last lap.
He's got a 40-second time penalty, too. Oh! Oh, what in the world?
So last
Okay.
to win this category
I don't know
is Warlock. Coming down into Arnage. So this guy has had a flawless race. He was the man to beat in P2 category. Again, had the pole position. Only lost the lead during the yellow flag safety car period. Gained it right back. Flawless race for Warlock. Absolutely deserves the victory. As he makes his way through the Porsche cars down to karting. Into the Ford chicane for the last time. Left and into the right. And back again. Warlock is your 2019 GRG P2 winner, with GRG finishing in second, and Peter Puppet wraps up the podium. So
I
again,
don't think Offner got podium. His teammate did.
so off. I think he backed out. I think that definitely is the result. So Das is your 2019 GRG champion. So again, thank you. This is Derek, your commentator, and joining me this afternoon was BDF. What did you think about this race?
This race spread out pretty quick, but the battles that we saw, especially with the conflicting strategy, I think really shaped up what Le Mans is all about. Even if you look at Lost, for example. At the beginning of the race, he was struggling, but at the end, he came out and finished in second, and that's really how Le Mans is. You never give up. It's not a sprint, it's an endurance race. You just got to keep going, even if something bad happens along the way. And even Tipper, a great example as well, started off in the pits, and he ended up finishing second. So it's a race of attrition, and we saw that today. And hopefully, if I ever do join back for another stream, we see more of the same.
But you have to hand it to VBR Dast. What a drive.
Mm-hmm.
A dominant drive. Pole position in the 3-14s. And then just dominates throughout the race, even with the changing conditions. Brilliant drive. Very well deserved. So again, thank you for joining us on this stream of the 2019 GRG 24 Hours of Le Mans. And wherever you are in the world, have a good morning, good afternoon, and good night. Thank you.